greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. So a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'm a raincoat with the blessing.
All right. Well, this is a whole new feel. I almost stalled it right away. Oh man, it feels so cramped compared to even my road glide. Even the Pan America I just rode. This is different, that's for sure. I bet you this bike though is going to be fun. This is the bike I'm most curious about because it's basically a mini road glide, right? At least that's how I feel about it. It's a mini road glide. So this is going to be interesting. Like I said, this is the bike I'm most excited to ride today. See if it's really deserving of the ST or the sporty nature of the name, right? I've ridden the 2021 Lowrider S, but you know, when the Lowrider S was announced again, I thought to myself, like, I wish that they had just made that bike with the had done it with the 117 motor, because the 117 motor is the biggest motor that comes from on the CVO line, you know. And when the Dyna Lowrider S came out, it had the 110, which was on the CVO line of motorcycles. So it was the only non-CVO bike that had the 117 or the 110 motor. So when they announced the Softail Lowrider S, I was like, why didn't they put the 117 CVO motor in this bike? And now they finally have, and it definitely is the right motor, I think, for this bike. Once I got used to the mids, actually, it's relatively comfortable. I'll take back my statement of how comfortable it is, because honestly, it's pretty damn comfortable once you get used to the fact that it's got mids and not forwards. Well, the only thing that I have seen as far as a visual complaint about this bike that I don't really like, and even a logistical means that I don't really like, is the fact that the saddlebags are two different sizes. So that especially since the fact that, like, you'll probably get a different exhaust. Like, that's 100% gonna happen, right? And most likely you'll see guys with 2-into-1s and stuff on this bike, and like, what are you gonna do when you get your 2-into-1 and now you have this huge gap on your right side saddlebag between your pipe and your saddlebag, and you can't fit the same amount of stuff in the right side as you can in the left side? So it becomes like a balancing issue of like figuring out how in the world you're going to get everything that you want in both saddlebags, especially since right now there's not a tour pack option either. So it's kind of a weird issue that I've seen, or that I have with this bike. But as far as like the fairing goes, I feel like it does need a little bit taller windshield. The fairing seems like it sits really low in comparison to where like my road glide is. My road glide, it sits like right up here, so it blocks a lot of the wind, and it feels like there's something in front of me. Here it doesn't really feel like there's anything in front of you, which is kind of a good and bad thing in a way. So I feel like if you went with a taller windscreen, it would just look weird. It would look kind of ugly. But as far from what I can feel right now, this bike does feel far more sporty than even they did change things about the Lowrider S and the Lowrider ST, as they did increase the stock suspension height, so you got more travel. It does feel very plush. It actually feels really good. What I'm curious about though is how does it feel in the corners? Like, obviously this feels a lot lighter than my road glide. There's just not a lot of mass, and this fairing, there's nothing to it. There's no speakers, no nothing, and this is how I would leave it. I want it to be a bagger, a mini bagger that I can take across the country, instead of like all full-on dresser, huge things. I would go with different bars, different exhaust, and honestly, you know, throw a cam in this thing, it'll be a monster. Oh yeah. Oh wow. This thing does feel like it's got about the same giddy up and go as my cammed 107 on my road glide. Obviously, 10 cubic inches bigger motor, 200 something pounds less than my Road Glide. Like, it should feel lighter. These handlebars feel like they're bent. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is like crooked. I bet you somebody dinged this thing up. I think this bar is bent. The handlebar is bent, unless that's just how it is, but that's just, I think that's something's fucky with this thing, but I'm not going to complain. It's just handlebars. I also like this dash, honestly. This dash on the Street Bobs and the Softail Standards is honestly a super nice look. It's super clean. I like the look of it. I don't necessarily need the tachometer and whatnot. Just go by sound and feel when you're lugging the motor and whatnot. If you're lugging the motor or revving it out. And plus it's an M8, it's a V-twin, it's got power almost everywhere in the RPM, so it's not like it's that big of a deal if you're in the wrong gear. As long as you're not super lugging down the motor, it should be able to just accelerate out. But ooh, man, I don't know, man. Getting on this bike, I'm like, god damn, this is actually kind of what this is what I want, honestly. Like, I love my Road Glide, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely like, you're taking a bike that's not meant to handle and make it handle, so you got to do all this stuff to it, whereas this bike is like, it's designed to handle, and it's designed to handle, it's designed to turn, stop, and still accelerate, but it's just capable of going a distance. And like the saddlebags I could get over. And this is honestly what I thought the Sport Glide should have been. And this is what a lot of people took the Sport Glide to. You know, put better suspension on it, taller suspension, better front suspension up front. They put the FXRT fairings on them. And then bam, you had a mini bagger that could tour across the country. But when you got to some canyon carving, this thing was the thing to do. So I don't know, man. I mean, God, this was a bad idea. I like the look of this bike too. That's the big problem. I actually wasn't a huge fan of this Gunship gray, but after looking at it, I'm like, God, I really like this gray. Oh, she's got plenty of pep right down in the lower RPMs. Plenty of pep down there. Oh, she's actually, it's like set up almost perfect. I actually could go taller bars, but honestly, I could see sticking with these for at least a little bit to get used to them. Oh, woo! Oh, brakes feel real good. Oh, god damn it. They have one here in black too. God damn it, I shouldn't have came here. I regret, major regrets. This is gonna be the interesting thing, is how this bump it feels. Everybody going over these like are afraid of those things. Oh, that's fucking nothing. Oh, damn it. Oh, Bubs, you should have said no. My wife should have said no, you shouldn't go do this, because now I'm liking this bike like way more than I should like it, honestly. Like, I could see myself owning this bike over my Road Glide, which is the sad part. Like, it feels like it wants to rip, and that's the part that I'm really like, and the seat's comfortable right now too. Like, I'd be going, my wife would probably be mad because she does like the Road Glide and the fact that we can go 2 up on it and ride. And this bike, I mean, I think I could easily handle going 2 up for a little bit of time. I don't think it would be one of those bikes that you'd want to take across the country 2 up. But my wife also has her own bike that she wants to learn and get better on, and so, like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Jeez, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't do it. I shouldn't do it. But I want it so bad. Really, I just, like, I don't use the radio. I don't use the stereo infotainment system on the Road Glide, you know, so it's like I have my Lexan for music and stuff, and so it's like this is kind of just like the bare bone. It's got a huge 117 motor. You throw a cam in this is gonna have plenty of power for you to have some fun with. Like, this was a bad idea, guys. I don't know if you'll see a lowrider ST on this channel, but after riding this bike, it really does make it awfully tempting. You save up some money, throw on a good set of pipes on this bike, get a dyno jet power vision. Look at how quick that fucking thing accelerates. God damn. 155 and you just roll on it and it's 60 in no time. In the right gear. Even in fifth, let's go. I don't want to crowd them too much, but fourth was probably the better gear to be in. Anyway, because these guys are kind of going slow. But I mean, the dash has everything that you need other than, you know... Oh, it's got cruise control! I didn't even notice that! Oh, now I need to get it. 1206 RPM. I mean, it does give you an RPM gauge. I mean, we're sitting up at like the perfect RPM zone, 2800 for power. You know, that's where I find that Harleys do well, even in stock form, is once you're up in 2700, you got the torque right there, but then you're also reaching where the horsepower kicks on. So when you roll on, it's just... I'm in love with this bike. God damn it. Thing is, you can also easily stand up on this, right? Yep. And I was actually worried about that air cleaner being in the way, but I didn't even like stepping up. Standing up, I really didn't even notice it getting up and over, like a little bit, but it's not in the way by any means. Yeah, it's a great bike. I like it. Overall, man, I gotta say, 9 out of 10. I mean, 8.5, like 9.5. I don't know. I want to say like a 9 out of 10. Like, there's always improvements to be made, but I don't know, man. This bike is just something else. I'm happy with it. I think that this was a great bike, despite getting past the fairing and the look of it. When you're sitting behind it, it's still a very cool bike. And honestly, I think this is the bike that I should own, because this is capable of taking me out to the Black Hills. I could ride this out to the Black Hills and come back, and then still be able to throw it around a lot out in the hills. And I can't imagine once this thing gets like legends in the back and legends in the front, like this thing would just rip. You throw a good cam in it too, like the 475 S&S cam or something like that, and God, this bike would be a ripper. I love it. Oh no, I don't know. They're 21.5. I don't know how much equity I have in my Road Glide. It probably wouldn't be enough to make it worthwhile. But I mean, the pegs are right where you want them to get it, to throw it around in corners. I'm gonna have to snap my wife and be like, I think I made a bad decision coming on these rides. And getting used to the cable clutch is a thing though. You a performance bagger? Yep, you are. Oh man, I don't know. Anyways, guys, I hope you appreciated me taking you along for a demo ride on the new 2022 Lowrider ST. This bike is definitely making me feel a certain way that I'm gonna make major financial decisions that I really shouldn't probably be making, but this is the story of my life. How is it easy? Oh, super easy to find neutral. Off. Kickstand, nice and easy. There we go. Oh, goddamn, that looks good.